After my wife died, my sons said, "We want the estate, the business, everything." My lawyer begged me to fight. I said, "Give it all to them." Everyone thought I'd lost my mind. At the final hearing, I signed the papers. The kids smiled until their lawyer turned pale when he read one sentence that changed everything. "I'm glad to have you here. Follow my story until the end and comment the city you're watching from so I can see how far my story has reached." The funeral flowers were still fresh when they came for everything I'd built. I'm Carl Brooks, 58 years old, and 6 months after losing my wife Linda to cancer. I thought I knew what rock bottom looked like. I was wrong. They walked into my home office like they owned the place. Ryan, my oldest at 35, wore his insurance agent suit like armor. His steel gray eyes held the cold calculation of someone who'd forgotten where his opportunities came from. Kevin, 32, stood behind him with that soft jaw and false concern I'd grown tired of seeing. These were my boys, the sons I'd raised from diapers, put through college, supported through their failures and disappointments. Now they wanted to take everything. "Dad," Ryan said, not even bothering to sit down, "we need to talk about the estate. There are some things that need to be settled." I was still grieving Linda, still trying to figure out how to live without the woman who'd been my partner for 30 years. We'd built everything together, the house, the business, the life we'd planned to enjoy in retirement, but my sons couldn't wait. They had plans, and those plans didn't include their old man. "What about the estate?" I asked, though I had a sinking feeling I already knew where this was heading. Kevin pulled out a folder thick enough to choke a horse. Legal documents, official-looking papers, the kind that make working men like me nervous. "Mom left everything pretty clear in the will, Dad. The house here in Sacramento, the lake cabin up at Tahoe, the construction business, it all comes to us." I felt like someone had sucker-punched me in the gut. Linda and I had talked about this, planned for it. She'd assured me the boys would be taken care of, but fairly. She'd promised I wouldn't have to worry about my future. "And what about me?" I asked, my voice sounding smaller than I intended. "Well, there's the life insurance," Ryan said, like he was doing me some kind of favor. $200,000. That should be enough for your retirement needs. $200,000. After 30 years of building Brooks Construction from nothing but a pickup truck and a toolbox. After employing half the guys in town. After working weekends and holidays to make sure these two had every advantage in life. After sacrificing the fishing trips and hunting weekends I'd planned to take with Linda so we could save for their college educations. The medical bills from Mom's treatment, Kevin added, almost as an afterthought. Like he was mentioning the weather. They're about $180,000. "Since you were her husband and made the medical decisions, those are your responsibility." I did the math in my head. 200,000 minus 180,000 left me with $20,000 to start over at 58 years old. 20 grand for a lifetime of work, for 30 years of marriage, for being a father who'd given everything to make sure his sons had better lives than he'd had. "You've got 60 days to find another place to live," Ryan continued, checking his expensive watch. "We think that's more than fair, considering the circumstances." Fair. The word stuck in my throat like a piece of stale bread. "We know this is hard, Dad," Kevin said, his voice dripping with that synthetic sympathy I'd heard from insurance adjusters and funeral directors. "Losing Mom so suddenly, it's been tough on all of us." Tough on all of us, right? As if they'd been the ones holding Linda's hand during those long nights in the oncology ward. As if they'd been the ones making impossible decisions about experimental treatments and pain management. They'd shown up for the funeral, of course. Both of them flying in from their respective cities, Ryan from Phoenix, where he sold insurance policies, Kevin from San Diego, where he ran some kind of real estate investment scheme. But during the 8 months of Linda's illness, when she really needed her family, when the chemo was making her sick and the radiation was burning her skin, I'd been alone, just me and Linda, facing the worst thing that had ever happened to us, while our sons were too busy with their own lives to visit more than once or twice. After they left, I sat in that office for hours. The sun moved across the sky, casting different shadows through the windows Linda had insisted on when we'd built this house 25 years ago. Her picture was still on my desk. Not a photo of the boys, but one of her and me at our 25th anniversary party. We were laughing about something I couldn't remember anymore. Her hand resting on my arm. Both of us looking forward to the years we thought we'd have together. That's when I found the key. I was going through Linda's jewelry box, trying to decide what to do with her wedding ring and the pearl necklace I'd given her for our 20th anniversary. Tucked behind her wedding band was a small brass key I'd never seen before, attached to a business card. First National Bank, with a handwritten number on the back. Box 247. The key felt warm in my palm, almost alive, like Linda was trying to tell me something from wherever she was now. The next morning, I drove to First National Bank on Capitol Mall. My hands were shaking as I walked through those heavy glass doors. Janet Torres, the branch manager, recognized me immediately. She'd handled some of our construction company accounts over the years, and she'd sent a sympathy card after Linda's funeral. "Mr. Brooks," she said, her voice gentle with genuine sympathy. "I'm so sorry for your loss. Mrs. Brooks was such a wonderful woman. How can I help you today?" I showed her the key and the business card. My wife apparently had a safety deposit box here, box 247. I found this in her jewelry box yesterday. Janet's expression changed, became more formal, more careful. Yes, Mrs. Brooks was very specific about that box when she opened it. She said only you should have access after she was gone. She opened it about 8 months ago, made several visits over the past few months. 8 months ago. Right when Linda's cancer treatments were getting more aggressive, when she'd started having those appointments she never talked much about. I'd assumed they were all medical doctors, specialists, treatment consultations. Maybe some of them were, but apparently not all. Janet led me down to the vault, her heels clicking on the marble steps. The safety deposit box was larger than I'd expected and surprisingly heavy when she pulled it from the wall. She left me alone in the small viewing room with its single chair and fluorescent light that buzzed like an angry wasp. My hands trembled as I lifted the metal lid. Inside were documents, stacks of them. Bank statements for accounts I'd never heard of, printed emails, financial records, photographs, what looked like surveillance reports, and on top of everything, an envelope with my name written in Linda's careful handwriting. But the envelope had a note attached. "Carl, open only after reading everything else first." I set the envelope aside and picked up the first document. It was a printed email exchange between Ryan and someone named Gary Williams, dated 10 months ago. As I read, my blood turned cold. "Gary, Dad's getting older and Mom's getting sicker. The doctors think she's got maybe 6 months left. We need to move faster on the asset transfer protocols we discussed. Can you expedite the paperwork?" The reply came 2 days later. "Ryan, I've prepared all the documents as requested. Once your parents sign the preliminary agreements, the business assets will be restructured under the shell companies we established. The personal properties can be transferred immediately upon her death. What about your father? Carl won't be a problem. He doesn't understand the business side of things anymore, and by the time he figures out what's happening, it'll be too late. Mom trusts us completely. She'll sign whatever we put in front of her." I had to read it twice before the meaning really sank in. They'd been planning this for months, while I was taking Linda to chemotherapy appointments, while I was researching treatment options and fighting with insurance companies, while I was holding her hand through the worst nights of pain. My sons were plotting to steal everything we'd built together. But Linda had been smarter than all of us. The next document was a bank statement for an account I'd never seen before, Brooks Holdings, LLC. The balance showed $2.1 million. Below it was a handwritten note from Linda. "Carl, this is our real nest egg. The boys think all our money is tied up in the house and construction business, but I've been quietly moving our assets here over the past 8 months. I realized what they were planning, and I was trying to protect you. $2.1 million. We weren't just comfortable, we were wealthy." Linda had been building our retirement fund for years, apparently, and I'd been too focused on the day-to-day operations of the business to pay attention to the bigger financial picture. She'd always handled our personal investments, said she enjoyed the research and planning. I'd trusted her completely. The private investigator's report made my stomach turn. Dean Harrison, the name was familiar, an old Army buddy from my days in the 82nd Airborne. The report was dated 7 months ago, complete with photographs, financial records, and a detailed summary of what he'd uncovered. Ryan owed $180,000 in gambling debts to various creditors, mostly connected to the casinos in Reno where he'd been making regular trips. The photos showed him entering and leaving the Golden Nugget, the Peppermill, the Atlantis. Sometimes he'd stay for 3 or 4 days at a time. The credit card records showed cash advances, wire transfers, payment arrangements with people who had names like Tony the Fish and Big Eddie Torino. Kevin's file was even worse. His real estate investment business in San Diego was actually a front for a series of Ponzi schemes that had cost his clients nearly $400,000. Most of his victims were elderly retirees who'd trusted him with their life savings. There were copies of forged documents, fake investment statements, wire transfer records showing money flowing from client accounts into Kevin's personal accounts. Both of my sons were criminals. White-collar criminals maybe, but criminals nonetheless. And I'd been too blind, too trusting, too focused on my own grief and Linda's illness to see what was happening right under my nose. The most devastating document in the folder was a medical report dated just 3 months before Linda's death. It wasn't from her oncologist. This was from a psychiatrist I'd never heard of, Dr. Rebecca Martinez. The evaluation was brief but conclusive. Patient shows no signs of cognitive impairment despite ongoing cancer treatment. Mental faculties remain sharp and decision-making capacity fully intact. Patient is capable of making complex financial and legal decisions. Ryan and Kevin had been telling everyone who would listen that Linda's illness was affecting her judgment, that she wasn't thinking clearly, that the medications were making her confused. But this report proved they were lying. Linda had been completely mentally competent right up until the end. The final document in the folder was a copy of a different will. Not the one Ryan had shown me yesterday, but one dated just 4 weeks before Linda died. This will was completely different. It left everything to me, with a simple clause that made my heart race. I leave the decision of what, if anything, my sons Ryan and Kevin shall inherit entirely to my beloved husband Carl, trusting in his wisdom and judgment to determine what they truly deserve. A note in the margin, written in Linda's careful script. Read, original held by Harrison and Associates Law Firm, downtown Sacramento. Carl has full power to decide. My hands were steady now as I reached for Linda's letter. I opened the envelope carefully, almost reverently, and unfolded 3 pages of her neat handwriting. My dearest Carl, it began. If you're reading this, then I'm gone, and the boys have shown their true colors exactly as I feared they would. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you about all of this while I was alive, but I needed to be absolutely certain of what they were planning before I took such drastic steps. The letter explained everything in Linda's methodical way. How she'd become suspicious when Ryan and Kevin suddenly started being so attentive during her illness. Not out of love, but because they were positioning themselves to control our estate. How she'd noticed documents missing from our home office, bank statements that didn't match what she remembered, phone calls that ended abruptly when she entered a room. I hired Dean Harrison. Remember him from your Army days? He runs a private investigation firm now. What he discovered broke my heart, but it also made me absolutely determined to protect you. Our sons have become strangers to us, Carl. Worse than strangers, they've become predators. She detailed the evidence Dean had gathered. Ryan's gambling addiction had started small office pools, weekend poker games with friends, but it had escalated over the past 3 years into something much darker. He owed money to people who didn't accept excuses or payment plans. People who made their living collecting debts through intimidation and violence. Kevin's crimes were more sophisticated but equally devastating. He'd been running investment scams for 2 years, targeting elderly clients who trusted him because of his connection to our family's good reputation in the community. He'd stolen their retirement money, their children's college funds, their life savings. Several of his victims had been forced to sell their homes or move in with relatives. The boys think they're inheriting the house and the construction business. Linda's letter continued. But what they don't know is that I've mortgaged both properties heavily over the past 6 months. The house now has a $650,000 lien against it through Pacific Coast Mortgage. The construction business equipment and property have loans totaling $890,000 through Industrial Business Credit. They're not inheriting assets, Carl. They're inheriting debt. I had to stop reading for a moment. Linda had been fighting cancer, enduring chemotherapy and radiation, dealing with pain and nausea and the terror of knowing she was dying, and through it all, she'd been orchestrating this elaborate plan to protect me. The woman I'd married 30 years ago had turned into a master strategist, and I'd never even noticed. The money from those mortgages and loans is safely deposited in the Brooks Holdings account that only you can access. Combined with our other investments and the real-life insurance policies, not the $200,000 policy they mentioned, but the $350,000 policy plus an additional $200,000 policy they don't know about, you'll have enough to live comfortably for the rest of your life. The letter went on to explain the legal mechanics of what she'd arranged. Alex Porter, our longtime attorney, had been completely cut out of the loop. Linda had discovered that someone in his office, probably his paralegal, Sandra Kellerman, who'd always been friendly with Ryan, had been feeding information about our estate planning to the boys. So Linda had quietly fired Porter's firm and moved our legal business to Harrison and Associates, where Dean's brother Michael handled estate law. The will Ryan showed you yesterday is real, but it's outdated. I executed it 18 months ago before I knew what they were planning. The real will, the one that matters, gives you complete control. You decide what they deserve, Carl. You decide what consequences they face for trying to steal from us while I was dying. The final paragraph brought tears to my eyes for the first time since finding the box. I know this seems cruel, and maybe it is, but I couldn't stand by and watch them destroy you the way they've been destroying their innocent victims. They made their choices long before I got sick. They chose gambling and fraud, and lies over honesty and family loyalty. Now they have to live with the consequences of those choices. You deserved better from them, Carl. You deserved better from me too. I should have told you what I was doing, should have trusted you enough to include you in the planning. But I was afraid you'd try to talk me out of it. Try to find some way to forgive them and give them another chance. Your heart is too good, my love. That's why I had to protect it, even from itself. I sat in that small room for another hour, reading through bank records and legal documents, trying to understand the full scope of what Linda had accomplished. She'd essentially created a financial trap that would spring the moment Ryan and Kevin thought they'd won. The properties they were inheriting would drag them down like anchors, leaving them with massive debt payments they couldn't possibly handle, given their existing financial problems. But the most ingenious part of Linda's plan was that it gave me complete control over their fate. I could give them the debt-laden properties and watch them struggle, or I could walk away and let Dean Harrison turn over his evidence to the district attorney. Either way, they would face real consequences for their crimes. When I finally left the bank, I had a choice to make. I called my sons that afternoon. My voice was calm, steady, nothing like the broken widower they'd left behind the day before. Boys, I've been thinking about what you said yesterday. You're right, fighting over your mother's will isn't how I want to spend my remaining years. I've decided not to contest anything. You can have everything. The relief in Ryan's voice was almost comical. Dad, that's wonderful news. We really appreciate you being reasonable about this. Let's meet at Alex Porter's office tomorrow morning and make it official, I said. I want to get this behind us so we can all move forward. Kevin chimed in, his voice warm with false gratitude. This means a lot to us, Dad. Really. Mom would be proud of how we're handling this as a family. As a family? Right. That evening I called Dean Harrison. His voice brought back memories of muddy training exercises and long nights on guard duty back when we were young soldiers learning what it meant to depend on each other. Carl, brother, I wondered when you'd find that box. Linda made me promise to wait for your call rather than contact you directly. She wanted you to discover everything at your own pace. Dean, I've read through everything. The evidence, the financial records, all of it. What are my options here? Honestly, you hold all the cards. We've got enough documented evidence to put both boys away for 5 to 10 years each. Wire fraud, elder abuse, grand theft. The DA would love to prosecute a case this clean. Or you can give them exactly what they think they're getting and watch them drown in debt. Your choice. I thought about it all night. These were my sons, the babies Linda had nursed through fevers and nightmares, the boys I'd taught to throw a baseball and change a tire. But they'd been willing to steal from their dying mother and leave their father destitute. They'd crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed. The conference room at Porter and Associates felt smaller with all of us crammed inside. Ryan and Kevin sat across from me, both wearing expensive suits that probably cost more than most of my construction workers made in a month. Alex Porter occupied the head of the table, looking confused about why we'd requested this meeting. Dean Harrison sat beside me with a thick briefcase, his expression calm and professional. Gentlemen, Alex began. I understand we're here to finalize Mr. Brooks's decision regarding the estate distribution.
That's right, Ryan said, his confidence radiating across the room. Dad's decided not to fight Mom's will.
We appreciate his cooperation during this difficult time. Before we sign anything, I said quietly, I think you boys should understand exactly what you're inheriting. Dean opened his briefcase with deliberate precision. Documents spread across the polished table like evidence at a crime scene. Bank records showing forged signatures, wire transfer receipts proving embezzlement, photographs of Ryan entering and leaving casinos, client statements showing Kevin's victims and their losses. Your mother knew everything, I said. My voice steady and matter of fact. She hired Dean here, you remember him, old army buddy, to investigate when she got suspicious about your sudden interest in her medical condition. Kevin's face had gone the color of old concrete. Dad, we can explain, Ryan. You owe $180,000 to casino creditors in Nevada. Kevin, you've stolen approximately $400,000 from elderly clients through fraudulent investment schemes. Both of you are looking at serious prison time if this evidence reaches the district attorney. Alex Porter was staring at the documents spread before him like he'd never seen anything quite so damaging in his entire legal career. But here's the beautiful part, I continued, pulling out the gift deed I'd had prepared that morning. Your mother was smarter than both of you combined. She gave you exactly what you wanted. Ryan grabbed the document, his hands shaking slightly as he read. I watched his face cycle through confusion, understanding, and finally horror. The house you're so eager to inherit has a $650,000 mortgage against it. The construction business equipment and property owe $890,000 to various creditors. Congratulations, boys. You're inheriting $1.54 million in debt. The silence in that room was absolute. Kevin looked like he might be sick. Ryan just stared at the papers in his hands. You can accept your inheritance exactly as offered, I said, or you can walk away with nothing. But if you refuse to sign, Dean here will be delivering his evidence to the district attorney by close of business today. The choice wasn't really a choice at all. Prison or financial ruin. Those were their options. They signed the papers with hands that trembled, their earlier confidence completely evaporated. 6 months later, I sold the properties my sons couldn't afford to keep. Used the money to buy a small ranch house near Lake Tahoe, the place Linda and I had always dreamed of retiring to. The house cost $380,000 cash, and I still had enough left over to last several lifetimes. Ryan filed for bankruptcy and entered court-mandated gambling addiction treatment. Kevin moved back to Sacramento, living in a studio apartment and working construction again for one of my former competitors who pays him half what I used to. I spend my days in my workshop now, building furniture not for profit but for the simple satisfaction of creating something useful. Started volunteering at the local VFW post, teaching basic construction skills to young veterans trying to make the transition to civilian life. There's something deeply satisfying about helping young men learn to build instead of destroy. 3 months ago, I established the Linda Brooks Foundation for Veteran Job Training. It provides tools, workspace, and instruction for veterans learning trades. It's not the legacy Ryan and Kevin expected their mother to leave, but it's exactly what Linda would have wanted, something that builds people up instead of tearing them down. You know what I learned through all this? Sometimes the people who are supposed to love you the most are the ones who'll hurt you the worst. But sometimes the person you think is gone forever finds a way to protect you one last time. Linda saved me from more than poverty. She saved me from being the kind of man who'd let his own sons destroy him out of misplaced loyalty. What would you do if you were in my place? Have you ever been betrayed by the people closest to you? Drop a comment below and let me know what city you're watching from. I'd love to see how far this story reaches. And if this one got to you, stick around for the next 2 stories I've got lined up. They'll surprise you just as much. Thanks for listening to an old construction worker's tale.